Let's add some additional features to our building here. So if we look in open up our 3D view, it looks kind of plain. Obviously, there's no doors and windows in it yet, but it is kind of bland. And even if we were to add some doors and windows, it'll make it more interesting. But let's go ahead and add some corner features here. And we're going to add a front entry in this video. So let's start off on our level 1 floor plan. And my thought was to make a 5 foot by 5 foot column, but we'll see, depending on, like we talked about in our last video, um, if that we'll want to make whatever we do, we want it to make it work with our coursing layout so that our brick coursing isn't messed up. So let's go to our annotate tab and go to detail line, and let's draw a rectangle. And this is just going to be some lines to kind of help us to lay this out. Let's do, we'll start off by a 6 foot square here. And what we can do is grab this 6 foot square and then move it by the center of that line we just drew in the middle. And then put it at the corner here. And let's get our, let's see, so if I take a dimension, I want to make sure these are even. It'll be a 3 foot bump out, and it'll be a 6 foot wide from each side. So let's go to our architecture tab and grab a wall. And let's use just the basic the EFIS on metal stud. And then go ahead and change that from finish face to exterior, finish face of interior to finish face of exterior, so that when we place the wall, we can snap to these lines and it'll be on the outside here. We can then should be able to trim, but we won't worry about that right now because we want to just check out our elevation. We can go to our west elevation. You just tab on all these walls. We actually don't need to do that now, but what we're going to do is just check out where this brick lines up with the edge of the wall. So see, it might be better if we would want to probably align it to that side so that when they're doing their brick, they're getting a better coursing here at this kind of furred wall that we're making, kind of make it a little bit more visibly appealing, which that actually gives us, if we go back to the plan, let's see, let's change this dimension to be the face of that wall, 6'2", and then let's make this other side 6'2" as well. We can snap into this wall, just tapping to reassociate that dimension. So what I'm doing here, sorry, is I'm picking this little blue dot. So the first blue dot on the end of the dimension, you can adjust the length of the dimension line. And this one actually moves it to a different location. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to tab twice to get this dimension snapped to this wall. And I can tell what I'm tabbing. Again, if you look at the bottom left corner, you can see it's right now it's on the detail lines. If I hit tab, now it's on the exterior wall that we just drew, but it's on the center of the wall. I tab once more to get the face of that wall. And I can select that and then give that a dimension of 6'2". And let's go check out our south elevation here. And we can see we can see that it should be aligned with this brick coursing. That's going to give us the same funkiness here. We go do our dimension, just so we're making sure that we're, I want a line, not linear. Got our 4 inches here, which should make the brick coursing 8 inches there, 8 inches here, and 1.4 here. And let's check our west side to make sure that that's the same. 4 inches and 8 inches, 8 inches, and 1.4. So in a way, without having to change the coursing layout, if we add this third wall here, we can actually kind of fix the masonry layout without having to do much work. I'm just going to hover over these, and I'm going to hit tab so I can select all these walls. We should have 4 walls selected, and I'm going to have it go up to top of parapet. So now I've got this wall that goes all the way up to the top of the parapet. You go to the 3D view, you can see now we've added this kind of corner feature to our wall here. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to select all 4 of these walls, and I'm going to go up to my Modify tab. Right under the Create tab, you see Create down here, and we're going to create a group, and we can just call that Group 1. Go back to our Level 1 plan. I'm actually going to delete this, these lines and dimensions that I created, and I'm going to take this, and I'm going to go to the Modify tab, Mirror, by drawing an axis, and I'm going to pick this midpoint of our building and mirror it to the other side. Now, if I grab my dimension, it's just always a good habit to just always double check these things. That we've got the 3 foot on both sides, and overall 6'2". And I'm going to grab both of these. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to mirror by drawing an axis, and I'm going to grab the midpoint, and then now we've got them on all 4 sides. So go to our 3D view. Now we've got these little furred walls on all 4 corners to give our building a little bit more interest. And then let's go and make a nice entryway into our building. So let's start off on level 1 again, and we'll go to our Architecture tab, Walls, and let's scroll all the way down to our curtain wall storefront. And I'm just going to draw it out front here, and we'll move it into place. So let's just draw any length 40 feet right now. Seems fine to me. I'm going to go to Annotate and do a dimension. I'm just going to grab a dimension here. And then grab, oops, I didn't actually get the curtain wall. That's okay. If you didn't draw a curtain wall, you can grab whatever wall you drew and then change it to the storefront. And it will change it back. I'm going to edit my witness line to add another witness line here. And I'm going to throw a dimension on here. So we can get an idea of where our wall is. I'm going to actually also draw. If I go to draw a detail line, I'm going to hit SM to get the midpoint and just make sure I can move this wall. I'm going to do a filter and check none and just select walls. So all we're getting is the curtain wall. The curtain wall panels and mullions will move with it. I'm going to grab the center of this and move it to align with that wall that we drew, or that line we drew for the center. And now we can see it's 75 feet, 77'5" from both sides here. And ours is 40'6". So we can change this. So we wanted it to be 40 feet, 77.8, and now it's 77.8 because it's bringing it in from both sides. Let's go to our west elevation. We can see our curtain wall here. And I'm going to do, I'd like this curtain wall to be pretty tall for our entry. So you can either drag it up, or we can select this level 1, 0, and we'll change it to level 2 to level 4, and we'll give it like an 8-foot height from level 4. So let's say our ceiling height at level 4 is 8 feet. Oops, I'm going to save. That means that the top of our window would be right at the ceiling height of 8 feet. I'm going to actually do 10 feet above because we gave 12-foot floors. So I'm thinking we might want to have a nice tall ceiling on that level 4 and all the levels. And so we're going to make that a pretty tall wall here. So I've got my curtain wall, 40 foot wide by 46 feet tall, which is 10 feet off of level 4. We can go back to plan. I'm going to hit move, MV, or you can come up here and hit move. I'm going to grab the center of this curtain wall and move it to the center of our stacked wall. And as you can see, it'll automatically cut that. Now the next thing I'm going to do is I kind of want this same feature to be here. So what I'm doing is I am going to hover over this group that we made. I'm going to tab once to get this wall, tab a second time, hold Control, and pick this third wall, tab, hold Control, and pick this third wall here. And we can copy this. Over here. And then we can just trim this wall back. So if we go here to look at our west elevation, now we've got this same width here. But what we'll do again is I just want to make sure that we are going to be in a good spacing for our brick coursing. So we have this centered. And it looks like we've got good spacing on this side. The CMU spacing isn't ideal. And then let's see. We can actually grab these 3 walls. I just tabbed on them. Let's make it a group. We'll call it group 2. And let's move this over to line up with the CMU and the brick. Now we have the 8 inches here. We've got 1'4". Got the 4 inches here. And 8-inch brick here. So I'm going to grab this wall. Let's go to our level. And we're going to hit mirror. We can actually hit mirror by picking an axis this time because we drew that line. We can pick that axis. and draw that wall. And now we can actually align this window. Let's see here. Undo. Okay, so what we'll want to do, I'm going to undo again so that window is centered. Let's make this, let's throw a dimension on here just so we can see. We got 10 inches on both sides. So we can pick this window and add 20 inches, and you can actually just add 20 inches to your Revit, the temporary dimension here, and it will automatically figure out that it's 48.1. So that's kind of a nice little trick. So what I did was I did 40 feet is what we originally had. And so instead of doing the math and figuring out what 10 inches and 10 inches is 20, and then, well, 20 inches, minus 12 and whatever's left over, they're making it 41, and whatever the change is, you can just actually add 40 foot 20 inches to your Revit temporary dimension, and it's smart enough to know it's 41 foot 8. So now we've got our our window aligned here in the middle, and then I'm actually going to do in this. I want this again to make it more interesting and make this building less flat. I'm going to add. I'm going to extend these walls up taller so that it's actually going to be taller here at this entry. And to make it even, let's DI as a dimension. Is 6'2", right? So let's extend this. Oops, let's edit this group so they both change at the same time. And tab to grab all 3 walls, and then we'll add 2'2" above the parapet. And so we'll add that so that here, across here, there'll be, we can add a band here to make this like a square or a rectangular band around our window. So let's see here. What can we do now? So let's go to our roof. And now we can see on our roof we've got our little bump outs here. We can tab into here, right click, and then create similar, so we can get the similar wall. And then we can drag this new wall across here. If it goes the wrong direction, just select it and hit space. I'm going to right click here to disallow join. Actually, no, I want it to join. Allow join. So then we go back to our elevation. It actually will join into the wall here. Actually, I'm going to drag this down to the top of the window. So now we've got this band across here. If you have a section already, let's move it to the middle here. We can take a look at what's going on. Right click and go to view. We can see we've added this here. And so what we'll want to do is we'll want to add like a ceiling or a soffit element here. So let's go back to our roof. Or actually, let's create. So if we look at our west view, basically we'll want a reflected ceiling plan for level 4, so we can put the ceiling in here, which it'll be just a soffit ceiling. So let's go to our View tab, go to Plans, Reflected Ceiling Plans, and Level 4. Now we can see our wall. We're looking up now. And if we go to Architecture, let's see for roof, and it won't be a ceiling. We could use ceiling. We could use a flat ceiling in there, but let's use roof, and we'll use roof soffit. Check the rectangle box here, and we'll leave it as generic model as we're just drawing it in. And we can hit OK, and now we'll have our ceiling here. And actually, let's undo once so we can get back in here. So right now its height from level 4 is 0. We'll want to make the height from level 4 10 feet. Hit OK, and now we've got our ceiling at the right spot. So if you go to your section, you can see we've added it to the correct location. So what I want to do is I want to make it match this wall. So I'm going to edit this generic soffit. I'm going to duplicate. And I'm going to say cancel, because I want to get this wall. Let's edit type. And then we can get actually all this information from here. So you can hit, if you've got Windows 10, you can hit the snip in Sketch. And you can get that information in here. And hit cancel. I drug it off the screen so I can edit this type. Duplicate. And I'm going to say EFIS soffit. And then we'll edit the structure. We can drag this back over. See, we don't need this interior layers because there isn't really an interior side. So it's a 6-inch metal stud. So let's just make this 6 inches. Change this to metal stud layer. Again, I would type in up here, metal stud, so it'll find it quicker for you. Let's insert, move it up, because we want this to be, actually no, I think we want to move it down, because we want it to be on the bottom here. And so this next wood is plywood sheathing, 3/4 inch, but we're actually going to change that to 5/8. So we'll call it substrate. Gypsum, which is sheetrock. We're going to make it 0.625 or 5/8 inch thick. We'll create this. The next one is this. So we did the plywood sheathing, which we made to the 5/8. We'll make this this membrane layer air infiltration layer, just because it's the same. Move down, and thermal air layer, thermal air layer. No, it was membrane layer. Membrane layer. Category air infiltration layer. And leave that as 0. Insert another one. Move it down. And then the next one is a thermal air layer. And they just have air on theirs. And it is a 2-inch airspace. And then they add one more layer for the finish, which they have it as the EFIS, or so I've heard it pronounced EFS. exterior insulation has 3 inches, and hit OK. Okay. And so now we've got that soffit that is the same as our vertical wall here. And while we're at it, let's edit this EFIS to change it to the 5/8 inch layer on the exterior here. So we'll change this to be gypsum and change that to be 0.625. And now we can actually go to our modify tab, join, and we can join these two so they look more seamless. Yeah, but I don't really like that. Let's hit join and unjoin geometry. And let us, let's see if I join the wall first. Yeah, that's better. So let's see if we go to our west elevation. Yeah, we don't want that to be seen like that. Go back to our section. And if we, so now we've kind of given ourselves a little bit more interesting building by adding this little entry. Now we could add additional windows here, and we're also going to add, I know everybody's favorite, but we're going to add some reveals in this EFIS, and we can add some features in the EFIS system. So we can have reveal lines that match up around here. I think the next thing I want to do is, because they don't really need this, obviously they don't need this wall in here, this cement. So let's try to trim this wall, see what happens. So nothing's happened. I'm going to try to just drag it. And what's it say? Expand, can't keep elements joined, error. And we'll just hit unjoin elements. And we'll hit trim and trim these corners up. And in reality, so what we do is also extend this slab out here. And they would frame in a wall here so that there wouldn't be a cavity inside the building. Just go around. You can hit TR for trim, or up here on the modified tab, and trim these corners. And if they don't want to trim, just go ahead and select the wall and drag it back. Hit unjoin, hit TR again to join. And before we get too far, let's go ahead and take a look. When I do that, does that mess up the coursing at all? And it looks like it does a little bit. And I think it might have just messed up the spacing, which is something easily fixed. So if I were to hit align this side there, so I've got 4 and 4 and 8. Okay, let's check the other side. 8, 1'4", and 40. Yeah, so I think that is kosher. And let's go and take a look at the other side. And actually, we can fix that up once we get going here. We can fix that up afterwards. So let's go back to level 1 and finish trimming. grab this and join. Drag this wall away. And trim if you need to. I'm going to split this wall because we don't need this wall to be that this curtain wall is on. We don't need that to be exterior. We don't need it to be the brick wall. So let's slice. You can type SL or come up to Modify tab. Excuse me. And over here you can split element. It's on the Modify right next to the mirror by drawing an axis split. And we'll split this wall here. And split it here on this side. And TR to trim. TR to trim. Undo because I don't like that warning. We'll just drag. And we can change this wall to the same wall as this. And actually, if you want, you can come up here to the clipboard. Next to where it says clipboard, you can match properties or type MA. Tab in to select that wall, and then select that wall. And it'll make it the right wall. Let's see here. I'm going to try and just align this end here, there. Or trimming works as well. Check out our section. So this actually doesn't necessarily have to be EFIS because it'll all be, because we have this curtain wall, the entire height of this wall, this actually can be this can actually be just a 6-inch metal stud wall. And actually, I think depending on the depth of our beam, so it should be 2 feet-ish. Yeah. So we'll have our beam here, and we'll probably tie back our curtain wall. Actually, hold on, while we're here, you can see how the window section on this curtain wall is facing on the interior side. Go ahead and select the center of your curtain wall, so it's just the curtain wall. Hit space so that glazing is on that exterior side, more towards the exterior side. So you can see I'm selecting the dashed line, hit space to flip the side of the glazing. Alrighty. So we can go to 3D view. And we can kind of check out our building to see how it's looking. I think it's looking a little bit better. Extend our 3D view cut up just so we can see better. So let's get straight on view. And then let's see. So we have a 1-inch reveal here at the brick. And so we can actually add that to this wall type as well. So let's select this EFIS wall that we just made. It's on the corners. Edit type. Edit. Make sure you're in section mode. Then you go to structure. And we can do add a reveal. Add. And let's load a profile here. Go to profiles. And check out some of these reveals. That's just the brick coursing. Hmm. I'm gonna go up one. Let's find a good reveal to use. Actually, I think I do want to use the wall and the brick course so that we can actually match that brick. So that's actually a good idea. Good thing I thought of that. So let's use the brick course. Reveal brick course 1 brick, and then distance from the bottom. Let's just do 4 feet for now. Hit apply so we can see it. And let's hit OK and check out where it's at on our. Not create integral reveal for wall, and since sweep position is outside of its wall, please check sweep parameters. Okay. Edit. Wait, did I? Yeah, let's hit OK and just see what happens. We can always come back in. So now we've got that band of 4 feet. And it might actually make a nice transition into our stucco. Then we can do another band at that height. So let's see here. This is kind of the fun part, I think. So let's go to our west elevation. We've got our kind of notch there. Let's put another one. Oops, let me see. So then let's put another one at 10 feet. So we can tab in and select this. Edit type. Go to edit. Reveals. Add. Do another brick. 1 brick at 10 feet from the base. All that looks good. Hit OK. OK. Yeah, I'm not sure why it's giving us that error. Oh, interesting. Did I use a different reveal? Oops, yeah, I used 2 bricks, but I wanted 1 brick for that one. That's why it looks different. I'm not sure why it's giving that this error. It seems to be doing what we want it to do, so just leave well enough alone. So in our 3D view, we can check it out. Edit the stack wall. Let's go to edit structure, and let's change this plaster wall to that ephes wall too. Instead, could not create anchor wall movements. Okay. Interesting. Let's go back in here. Let's actually select this ephes wall. I'm going to edit. So I'm selecting the one at the parapet. Select that, edit type, edit structure, and actually before we edit structure, sorry, let's duplicate and let's hit escape. Let's rename and we'll call this metal stud with reveals. Oop, actually cancel. Let's just cancel all this out. Just to make sure I'm doing this right. Select this wall, edit type, rename, and then we'll do w/with reveals. Now let's duplicate and just leave it. Ephes with metal stud, delete the with reveals, go to edit type, go to reveals, and select on these and delete them. Hit OK. Okay, so now this one has no reveals. Let's change that one to our stack wall to the one with no reveals. Hit OK. And then now we just have the reveals on the walls. Let's actually change this one behind here with no reveals. Yep, let's just save that. And so yeah, I'm liking the look of that. So we'll add some windows in here and on the sides to kind of give it some more, make it look a lot better. So I think you kind of get the idea. Let me, so we're going to need to adjust this curtain wall also. We'll come back and do that later. I think we'll move on to something else. So as a recap, what did we do in this video? We added these kind of bump outs at the corner. Actually, while we're thinking about it, let's go fix the rest of the corners just to make sure our brick coursing and our CMU coursing is lining up. Delete these dimensions just to make sure. Actually, it should be easy enough just to align with the new bump outs that we did. Should fix both sides. To me, it looks graphically like we did. So west is good, should be good. Let's check south. Check the other side of our south. And align. Align. Gotta just do a double check to make sure this other side is still aligned. Yep, looks like it. Let's go to our north elevation. You can click that over here on your project browser. Hit align. And it looks like it is. And let's check the last east side. Oops. AL for align. Align these. Make sure the other side is good. Yeah, looks like we're good. All right, so now to recap. Go to our 3D view. Close all the other views. 3D view open. We added these bump outs to give it a bit more entrance to the building. We added this big entry curtain wall. We'll also later on we'll add some mullions in here and some doors. And we added this kind of entry area. And we made sure that all of these were lining up with our brick coursing, and we trimmed around all of these so to make sure that the wall, the brick, and the masonry coursing was still lining up. So let me know if you have any questions, and see you next time.